What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Bet Leveling Show. I'm Alan. I'll be hosting the NBA slate for today's games. I know we got NFL Sunday going on, but we got some great NBA games as well. I'll be going through the ins and outs of every single game on the NBA slate tonight, and then I will also give you guys my favorite four-legger play. So stay tuned till the end. That's when I show my play. And honestly, let's just jump right into it. All right, so first things first, we do have the 76ers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. This game obviously is going to be in Oklahoma City's favor. They are playing at home. They are minus 700 favorites. And then Philadelphia sitting at plus 700. The spread here is at plus 16.5. When it comes down to a Philadelphia 76ers, plus 16.5. They're not playing with Joel Embiid, so I know that's going to be Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, people like that. That's going to be performing. I think they keep this close. I mean, a plus 16.5 76ers. I know they haven't been doing the best. In their past five, they've only won two. However, in Oklahoma City is Oklahoma City. I get all that. But at the same time, it's the 76ers as well. I know when they didn't have Paul George and Embiid, they did have a ramp up. They were playing well. They were playing together. And I think they can repeat that here. I know they've struggled a little bit with Paul George coming back and Embiid. They're all playing together. But I think this is a game where they can keep it close, at least under 10 with my prediction. But again, that's just off first basis. Let's do the biggest thing I love to do the most, and let's follow the money. So as we can see, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder sitting at 76% on the money line. That's not bad at all. I mean, it's just too juice for me to even want to flirt with it. So I'm just going to stay away. And then we have 56% of the people going towards the Oklahoma City to cover that spread. Again, I'm more on the on the Philadelphia side. Philly's not a bad team. They just have bad morale. So that's one of the things I look at here. I think they can cover as well. I think I'm against the public in this one, thinking majority of Oklahoma City will cover that spread. I think Philadelphia can keep it under 10 in my opinion, or keep it somewhat close, especially with seeing Oklahoma City the way they've been playing and losing against the Spurs. If other teams and other coaches have been watching that, hopefully, I know it's Wemby. I know he's an alien. He's you can't really replicate that, but if there's other ways that the Spurs have also been winning as well. Wemby didn't play full minutes or even start the entire time they played each other. So, I hope the teams are catching up. Coaches are looking at that and figuring out ways to stop Oklahoma. And hopefully, if Philadelphia is doing the same thing, they can keep this game close. And then, obviously, we have the over-under sitting on majority of the people on the under, and the under sitting at 225.5. I don't hate that. That's like both teams scoring about 110, 115 each. I don't hate that at all. The only thing is that Philly has been not scoring that much, and I think that's the reason why they're really on that. I mean, they scored 102, 106. They did score 121 against Dallas, but Dallas is a pretty high-scoring team. 116 against New York, and 117. So, I mean, it's lingering around there. I don't hate that, but I will say Oklahoma City is one of those teams that do have high defense, and they can do low scoring as well. So 102, 110, 119, 107, 122. So they're staying around that 115, 110. So I don't hate a lot of the people on the under here. If it ever creeps up, I will say keep track of the under. Right now, just looking at it, if it stays around that 50 to 60%, I might go with the public, but if it starts to skyrocket around 75, 80%, if it gets to 80, I may fade the public and go with the over. So this one I'm going to keep track of and stay on the lookout for the most part. Now, let's jump into the next game here. The next game we have the Golden State Warriors going against Toronto. Toronto being at home. Toronto sitting with the major favorites here. In the public's eyes, but when it comes to odds, they are plus 150. So that kind of scares me a bit there. And then Golden State Warriors are minus 180. So as you guys can see, 22% of the people think that the Golden State Warriors are not going to win this. Or are going to win this, I should say. But majority of the public are not on the Golden State Warriors, which is crazy to me. And then they do think that the Golden State Warriors can cover the spread. So this one's a kind of a tricky one to kind of watch, especially if you're not too familiar with how, these kind of operate. But let's just look at it, right? So, Steph Curry. Golden State Warriors sitting at minus 3.5. Over under sitting at 224, 225.5 as well. So those are the spread. That's the total. And now, looking at this, So it's really confusing because we have majority of the people on 76ers, but we have 68% of the people covering the Golden State Warriors spread. So that means 68% of the people are thinking the Warriors will win by more than 4, but 77% think that the Toronto is going to win. I think they may be doing the Toronto just for the money line, maybe for plus EV, getting that extra juice, and it's plus money, plus odds. But I will say where Vegas would make the most money is if Golden State wins but does not cover. So maybe they win by a 3, they win by a layup, they win by a game winner. That's where Vegas would make the most money. And honestly, that's where I would stick with too. Not only being a Golden State Warriors fan, I'm a Golden State Warriors for the West and East Coast I represent here in Charlotte. So I am a Golden State Warriors, mostly just really a Steph Curry fan. So I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors regardless. But this one can be tricky if you're not too sure how to read it. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors just winning outright. I don't know if they cover the spread, though. So we'll see about that. Now, next game, let's get into the Boston Celtics versus the Portland Trailblazers. So Portland is at home. This Boston Celtics are on a complete tear right now, winning 4 of their last 5. Portland have lost their last 3, and honestly, I do think they're going to continuously lose. But let's look at it here, right? So we have the Portland Trailblazers as the plus 200 underdogs. Boston is minus 250. They're sitting at minus 6.5 for their spread, so they think Boston can win by 7 or more. And then the over-under sitting at 230. So pretty high-scoring game, about 115 both teams. I can see that as well. Boston did have to travel, so keep that in mind there. But with 55% of the people on the Portland Trailblazers money line, I would say they're probably picking that just to get the good odds with the plus money. In my opinion, I don't really think the public thinks that the Portland's going to win here. And if they do, I would love to hear your thoughts, but I really don't think they're going to win here. I think Boston can get their 5th win, making it 5 straight. And obviously, as you guys can see here, this is another case of, where the underdogs win, but then the Boston, the favorites, cover the spread. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here, where it's if Vegas would make the most money, right? If we're looking at it that way, the best way they would make their most money is if Boston wins but does not cover the spread. So maybe like a minus 2.5, minus 3.5 for Boston. I love that play. I don't see Portland winning this game, even though they do have some studs. They got Denny Advia. I know I can't even think of a lot of people there. Is Drew Holiday back there? I know he's there. The Trailblazers just aren't that big of a team that I really think of. Screw Anderson. But either way, I know they've been ramping up. They've been doing pretty well. I know they beat Sacramento twice. They also beat Golden State. But they've also been losing to regular teams as well. Detroit, Orlando, Clippers losing their last 3. And I just don't think they have enough guys and enough teammates to really bring it out of them. They need Damian Lillard back, in my opinion, for them to start winning like crazy and for me to build that confidence on. So I think Boston here takes this, obviously, and then I would say definitely go with like a minus 2.5 spread here to get some extra, better odds. But I don't think they cover the 7. If we're going based on the Vegas theory is what I should honestly call it by now. But either way, let's jump to the next game here. We got Memphis going against the Washington Wizards. I just never think the Wizards are going to win at this point. They get a few wins here and there. It's very sporadic. But just at this point, I'm always going to fade them, to be honest with you. But let's look at it here. We got the Memphis Grizzlies at minus 260 as the favorites, Washington plus 230, and then the line is sitting for the spread at plus 7.5. So they think that Memphis can win with 8 or more, and then over-under sitting at 239, 240.5. So this one's going to be a pretty high-scoring game out of the last few that I mentioned. So that's honestly good for us, because this is where I would really attack player props here. Even though I will say, I'm going to give you guys a quick teaser here. I didn't pick any player props from this game, but I would recommend it when you guys hear this and go through it. This might be a really good game. Ja Morant's been ramping up here, so that might be a great one to target. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been doing his thing. And then for Washington side, I see Keyshawn George doing a lot. And Trey Johnson, I believe his name is. So a lot of underdog guys. Alex Sarr, if he's back, I know he's out. He might be back. If he is, that's a good target as well. But this game might be really good for some player props here. I would highly recommend it. But here, let's check out the money wise here. As you guys can see, majority of the money is on Memphis. Makes the most sense. They also are on them to cover. Again, if we're looking basically on the Vegas theory here, we would say that the Washington to cover cover, that plus 7.5 would make them the most money. Not winning. I mean, obviously they'd make good money in good coin if they win, but I would say just looking based on it, I don't think Washington can win, but they may be able to cover. That's where I would be looking at here. So that plus 7.5 would probably be my favorite play when it comes to a play like this. And then maybe hitting the under just because 240 is a lot. So I do like that under 240. That's both teams scoring 120. And just looking at it, I mean, okay, I can understand why they're going with that, right? So the Memphis Grizzlies, they scored a 125 their last game, 137 the game before that. They scored 103 against Oklahoma, but it's Oklahoma. They scored 122 against Washington again and lost, by the way. So the last time they faced each other, the Washington Wizards did win. So that is actually some good knowledge to keep on that there. I did not know that. So, and it was a very high-scoring game, sitting at 152 total. So that's something to keep in mind there. They did play in Memphis as well, whereas this game is in Washington. So it could be the same kind of up like the play tempo. So that's something to keep in mind. And then they scored 116 against the Timberwolves there. So, after looking at that, I don't hate that. And Memphis could be one of those teams that Washington can squeeze by. I mean, Washington, they've been keeping games pretty close and doing some surprise wins every now and then. Again, they're super sporadic. I just always fade them just because they haven't done me the best. But after looking at everything, looking back and talking it through, I can understand why a lot of people may want to do the cover, when it comes to Washington. So that's a favorite play here when it comes down to the Washington. Take the spread. Now, let's jump into the next game here. We got Detroit Pistons against the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers are at home, and as we can already see, Detroit are extreme favorites here. They're sitting at minus 150 as the favorites. Number one in the entire East. Makes the most sense why they're the most favorites. And the Clippers have been so janky that I can't even trust them. So, this is what we're sitting with here. The spread is minus 2.5. Super close. It's hard to kind of do a toss-up. And then we have the over-under at 225.5. So, pretty good game. Pretty even. Pretty normal. 110. Around there. And I think this game right here could be a surprise. Again, I hate the Clippers. When I say I hate the Clippers, I just hate what they've been doing so far. They've just been doing a lot of weird stuff lately. It's very noticeable when you look at playback where some stuff could be super questionable and could be borderline investigated. I try to stay away from the Clippers right now just because there's just so much stuff going on, and I'm seeing it with my own eyes. So I just can't trust it. But when it comes to this, again, when it comes to Vegas, gotta look at that. Vegas theory would say that the Clippers can cover the spread here. I would say honestly, I'd probably juice it maybe plus 4.5, plus 5.5, and with the Clippers being at home, with the odds only being minus 2.5, they're getting an extra 2-point juice. So realistically, the books think that Detroit could only really win by 1. So, I don't hate the Clippers here. I mean, I would honestly even recommend sprinkling on a Clippers money line win. Detroit just lost as well to the Utah Jazz. Hopefully they don't lose again, but if they do lose back-to-back, no one would be upset if it was on a team against the Clippers, right? So, and the Clippers have been ramping up. They've been playing good. James Harden's been doing his thing. Kawhi Leonard's been doing his thing. I just hope they keep that up. But if they keep that same momentum, I don't hate them taking the dub away here. So my favorite play would honestly be take this underdog to win Clippers outright. It's plus 120, 125 here. Some books you can probably find it at plus 130. I don't hate that there. Take it. Maybe a Celtics, Golden State, Clippers, 3-leg might do you some good tonight, my opinion. So that's what I would be looking at for that game. Now, last game of the night, 6-game slate. Love this short game because most of the time I try to babble and I'm trying to go through these quick for you guys. But I usually have a lot to say and some of the things I like to talk throughout. And I'm sure it probably helps you guys too. Hopefully it does. But let's jump into it here. We have the Sacramento Kings going against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are the extreme favorites. They are sitting at minus 565. The spread's looking at 11.5 And then we have the over-under at 232.5. So, again, pretty normal game, pretty normal NBA game. Hopefully the refs let these boys play, because if so, it could be fast-paced, high-scoring, which would be amazing for this. Now, Sacramento are coming off a nice dub against Dallas yesterday. They did lose against the Detroit Pistons the game before that, and then they beat the Houston Rockets by 1 point. So very close games in their wins, and they're winning against teams that no one would expect them to win by. So, and then also against Detroit, they kept it fairly close. So these are things that I would say they have covered. The Sacramento Kings have covered their spread line the past 4 out of 5 games. I think it was the last 4 out of 5 games. In fact, they covered the last 5 out of 5 games. So these are the things to keep in mind. I do want to have people consider that as well. Now, when it comes to over/under, this is a team. Let's look at the last 5, right? So they scored 113, 127, 125. They scored 93, and then they scored 133. So it's kind of up in the air, but this is a team that's that can have high scoring potential. They did get DeMar DeRozan back, and then Westbrook is doing his thing as well. This team looks scary, and when I say scary, they just look like very motivated. They're ambitious. They're attacking the floor, playing great defense, and they're playing with good morale. So I wouldn't hate this right here, the spread. The spread would probably be my main focus. I don't see them winning against LA. The only way I could see them winning against LA is if LA still has all of that bumping heads type of question mark over their head. Apparently a lot of insider beef is going on. You can really tell when it comes to coaching with JJ, and then a lot of the players within the team. So these are things to kind of keep in mind here. If they don't get their shit together soon, I can definitely see Sacramento kind of getting an upset here. I don't know about a major upset. I think with Austin Reeves getting out, Austin Reeves won't be playing for next couple weeks. I think it's going to give Luka Doncic more of the ball, which is going to allow Luka to do his thing. So I think Luka's going to be a big play here. However, again, if they don't get a lot of their stuff together, it only takes one person to break a team, just because they can seep through in a lot of bad ways to other players, and then it seeps throughout the entire organization. So if that continues, I can definitely see Sacramento taking it here. Hopefully that's not the case, but if I were to pick a play here, it's definitely going to be the Sacramento Kings to cover plus 11.5. I think they keep this under 10 in my opinion. And then honestly, I might sprinkle on the underdogs to win. It's not my hope because I grew up a Lakers fan. I grew up a major Kobe fan, and I love what Luka's doing there. Nico's an idiot. Nico's honestly an idiot. But either way, I love Luka there. I love to see him play and see him hold it down over there. But just looking at what's going on in the past couple days, I'm going to go with Sacramento spread. So that's everything on the games. I hope that helps. Now I'm going to give you guys my favorite four-legger play. And again, if you guys want more plays, more actions, more insights, and everything else, make sure to join the Discord. It's completely free. It's free of charge. We don't charge anybody. And that's where I post all my plays, insights, and more. So go ahead and get your spot. All the links and everything will be in the description. All right, so let's jump into the player props here. I got my 4 favorite player props. Some of them juiced, but I will say if you guys play this on Prize Picks, it is a 4X, which isn't bad. 25 pays $175 profit there. Might as well take that, right? Again, I do slow grinds. I don't have to go and do some 20X, 30X. I do hit those occasionally, but if I want to do a slow grind and ramp up long term, I'm doing these somewhat of a more safer play, more strategic in my opinion. But if you guys like them, play them. If you don't, fade them. You can also do the regular lines. I do love the regular lines as well, and I'll discuss the regular lines throughout. But let's look at what we have currently. So we have Shai Gilgeous to go over 25 points or more. I honestly think he hit 30, but I'm doing 25 to be extra safe. I do love Tyrese Maxey here with no Joel Embiid. I think this is going to allow Maxey to really just do his thing, play the game the way he wants. And we also saw him play in the beginning of the entire season, and that man was going off, going bonkers. So I really do think he can keep this momentum without Embiid here. Jaylen Brown over 10 over 10 rebounds and assists. His regular line's 10.5. I just brought it down to 0.5. A 0.5. So I really do think he hits this here. And then Luka, obviously, to hit 30. This is going to be Luka's world. No Austin Reeves. AR is going to be out for about 3 to 4 weeks. So I think this is going to be Luka's world right here. As long as he can play with LeBron, I think he can get Ayton back in the emotions of things, and a lot of other players throughout. So I think Luka does his thing. This is what I'm looking at. But if you guys don't want to take my word on it and you want more of an insight, I got it for you. So first things first, as you guys can see, this man has hit the 25 points 90% of the game. He's only not hit it against San Antonio Spurs on his last loss here. But as you guys can see, this man has been killing 25 or more. I think this man is averaging it. He was a former MVP, and he's just one of those players that can always at least get 25. It's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like I don't really have to go into crazy detail about Shea getting 25 points. Honestly, I think he can get 30. I think his regular line's 31.5. 31.5 is a little too high for me, but I do think he can hit 30. So if you want to get a little bit more balls here, go for 30. I don't hate it at all. Next, we have Tyrese Maxey. 36.5. As you guys can see, he has an 80% hit rate on this play. He's only missed it twice against Milwaukee and against Brooklyn. And again, we know Joel Embiid, this is where he's going to thrive the most. He also loves playing in early games. And then, again, this is against Oklahoma City. The only thing that scares me about this play here is if Lou Dort is on him, the defense may be crazy. And I don't know if you guys seen Lou Dort lately in his some of his replays, but that man, I didn't realize how much he tries to get people injured, just from his footwork and a lot of the kicks he does when he takes a shot or even when he's defending. It's kind of dangerous stuff, man, and I feel like the league should probably do a check-in on that, in my opinion. But again, either way, I say all that to say the only way this makes me kind of question this is if the defending's really, really good and like someone that can do Dort, even Shea and even Jalen Williams is on him. This could slow it down, but I do think Tyrese Maxey, and I think he could really perform well. And I think the books even know this as well because if you look, it is plus 107. So the books are favoring this to not hit as much as a regular line here. But I do like the 36.5. If you guys ever get it a little bit lower, if you want to juice it like I usually do with my plays, 29.5 is a perfect, cherry on top type of play. But I think I'm going to go all out here and do that 36.5. Now, the next play here, we have Jaylen Brown over 9.5 rebounds and assists. This man has been taking the spot of Jason Tatum, I feel like, in all regard, not only in points, but also with rebounds and assists. I think he has a few triple-doubles throughout the season, and then he's just been getting a lot of rebounds and a lot of assists lately as well. So I don't hate this at all. Obviously, you guys can see he's hit this 7 out of the last 10 games. He missed it by 2 last game, but he's hit it 3 games back to back before that. So I think he keeps this momentum. 10 RA isn't much to ask for him. He can get 7 or 8 rebounds himself and a couple assists. So I think he really bulldozes this line here. And then last but not least, Luka Doncic hitting over 29.5. He's had a 70% hit rate on this. It's Luka. And again, there's not going to be AR. I'm sure with JJ, he's had a lot of coming to Jesus conversations and throughout the practice and more. So I think he's going to allow Luka to do Luka things, and I think he's going to really perform today. And as you guys can see, a lot of Luka's lines are favored to go over 35.5. Like, even when I was looking at his regular line at 34.5, it was plus money for it to go under that. So I do think he can hit his 30. Maybe a good little 2-leg play if you guys want to get a little extra juice is maybe Shea for 30, Luka for 30, and then do the rest of the plays there. So that's up to you. But either way, that's what I'm rocking with. I hope this helps. I hope this gets you guys going and really helps, make your plays throughout the day. But if you guys want to take some people out, add some people, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear exactly what you guys like. Maybe tell me what you guys don't like. And again, join the Discord. Love to hear some more insight and more plays from you guys throughout. But other than that, wish you nothing but the best. Happy Sunday. I know most people watching NFL, but again, we got some good NBA as well. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and see you on the next one.